Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American comedy horror anthology film from 2015 titled Tales of Halloween. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. After finishing his trick-or-treating, Mikey returns home. It turns out his parents have left him in the care of babysitter Lizzie, who has invited her boyfriend Kyle over to watch a horror movie. As Mikey indulges in his candy, Lizzie and Kyle suggest he save some for Sweet Tooth. They share an urban legend about Timothy Blake, a boy from 50 years ago who loved trick-or-treating but was never allowed to have candy by his parents. One Halloween, Timmy snuck downstairs to find his parents secretly eating his candy as an aphrodisiac. Furious, Timmy murdered his parents, and his first taste of candy sparked an insatiable sweet tooth. Even after devouring what remained, Timmy resorted to cutting open his parents to feast on the candy inside their stomachs. Since then, every Halloween, his spirit haunts the neighborhood in search of candy, and children must leave some candy out for Sweet Tooth, or else he'll tear open their stomachs to claim what's inside. After Lizzie tucks Mikey into bed, the frightened boy leaves a candy bar by the door before falling asleep. While Kyle lies on the couch later, unaware of Sweet Tooth's presence, he is attacked by the sinister figure. Lizzie discovers him lifeless on the couch and is soon attacked, both falling victim to Sweet Tooth's vicious assault and their stomachs were torn open. Mikey hides under his bed while hearing the screams. Suddenly, his door opens, and Sweet Tooth's hand emerges to take the candy bar, sparing Mikey's life. Later, Mikey's parents return home to find Lizzie and Kyle's lifeless bodies, with their son complaining that they ate all his Halloween candy. Billy Thompson, dressed as a red devil and accompanied by his older sister Brittany and her boyfriend Todd, tries to start trick-or-treating early. However, the two teens deceive Billy into throwing an egg at the house of Mr. Abaddon, a notorious resident who never gives out candy. Before Billy can throw the egg, he's caught by Mr. Abaddon himself. Billy is taken into Mr. Abaddon's house, where it's revealed that Mr. Abaddon is actually a demon. Fed up with children pranking his house annually, Mr. Abaddon decides to show Billy what a real Halloween prank entails. Together, they roam the neighborhood playing twisted pranks, from spray painting walls to committing violent acts like stabbing a neighbor. They even steal Adrienne Curry's car, using it to harm trick-or-treaters and rob a convenience store. When they return to Mr. Abaddon's house, Billy, who was tied up the whole time, discovers that the person wearing his devil costume is a miniature demon named Mordecai. Content with their night's work, Mr. Abaddon releases Billy. However, Billy is soon surrounded by police officers, who mistake him for the terror caused by Mordecai disguised as him. Terrified, Billy wets his pants before the officers fatally shoot him. On Halloween night, close friends Nelson, Maria, James, and Caitlin are hanging out at Nelson's house, smoking pot, handing out candy, and watching Night of the Living Dead. As Nelson goes to greet a trick-or-treater dressed as a witch, the girl unexpectedly stabs him multiple times in the abdomen. Terrified, Maria rushes to her car parked behind the house to drive Nelson to the hospital, but she's viciously attacked by 4 more kids in costumes. Succumbs to her injuries, Maria dropped dead in the house's pool, and by then, Nelson has also passed away. James suffers burns on his face from yet another trick-or-treater, who further harms him by forcing rat poison into his mouth. Caitlin, the sole remaining adult, hides in the pool house. It's revealed that Caitlin, Nelson, Maria, and James are actually a group of psychopaths who have been abducting kids and subjecting them to torture for their own amusement. The vigilante kids eventually locate the pool house, the site where the group tortured victims with surgical tools. They free the group's most recent victim, a girl whose eye was gouged out by the adults. She avenges herself by killing Caitlin with an axe to the head. Alice, a sociopathic pyromaniac bully, accompanied by her cohorts Isaac and Bart, confronts a lost trick-or-treater dressed as a cowboy. They are interrupted by a teenager dressed in a mysterious creature costume. As the group is startled by the teen's appearance, he hands Alice a drawing depicting the creature known as the Demon of All Hallows Eve. He warns that the demon will exact vengeance on the wicked who harm the weak, but the group dismisses it with laughter. The trio chases the teenager until they reach a burnt-down trailer car. In a flashback, it's revealed that Alice intentionally set the trailer, where the teenager lived with his parents, on fire when they were children. Realizing the teen is Jimmy Henson, the bullies proceed to attack him. As Alice prepares to set him on fire, Bart and Isaac are suddenly dragged into the shadows by an unseen force. The actual demon of All Hallows Eve appears, resembling Jimmy's costume. The drawing Alice dropped contained instructions on how to summon it. The demon brutally kills Alice, her blood splattering on Jimmy, who smiles in satisfaction as justice is served. Lynn attends her mother's Halloween party along with other family members. She listens as her mother shares the tale of Mary Bailey, a girl ridiculed throughout her life for her disfigured appearance. According to legend, Mary's ghost emerges every Halloween to mock people's appearances behind their backs and take the eyes of those who dare to glance at her. On her way home from the party, Lynn's old car breaks down, leaving her stranded in the middle of the road. While inspecting the engine, she accidentally breaks her phone, forcing her to continue on foot. Along the way, she hears eerie cackling, possibly Mary Bailey's ghost trailing her. Terrified but recalling her mother's story, Lynn runs without looking back. She reaches home safely and, upon turning around, finds nothing behind her. As she settles in to watch a movie, her dog becomes agitated and leaves. Lynn is startled to discover Mary Bailey sitting beside her. 1 year ago, married couple Jack and Bobby enjoy watching children trick-or-treating on Halloween night. Bobby feels upset about not having children of their own, so Jack tries to lift her spirits by dressing their dog as Gretel. However, Bobby becomes enraged at the gesture and reveals her true form, a red-skinned demonic witch with multiple arms, and attacks Jack, clawing his face. In the present day, Bobby is excited while Jack appears submissive as they prepare a routine to entertain trick-or-treaters. They dress up as Hansel and the witch from Hansel and Gretel, respectively. Although they perform their skit for the children, including those from other stories in the film, there is an underlying tension between the couple whenever children visit their front porch. When a young boy dressed as Hansel visits the couple's house alone, Bobby eagerly prepares to welcome him inside. Jack, however, discreetly alerts the boy's mother and later reveals to Bobby that he underwent a vasectomy in secret to prevent pregnancy. He believes Bobby is too abusive and unstable to be a proper parent. As Jack exits the room, Bobby snaps and transforms back into her witch form. She throws Jack into the oven, which resembles a cavernous inferno, ultimately causing her own demise as she melts away. Boris, a scientist, proudly finishes decorating his house for Halloween, creating a classic graveyard-themed display complete with an animatronic talking skeleton. However, as children approach to admire his decorations, they are frightened away by blaring rock music emanating from Boris's new neighbor, Dante's house. Dante, a punk rock enthusiast, has set up a far more gruesome and gore-oriented display. Boris walks over to Dante's yard to ask him to lower the volume of the music and to request his scantily clad girlfriend to dress more modestly. However, Dante and his friends dismiss Boris, telling him to chill, and mockingly comment that Boris's decorations look cute. Feeling insulted by Dante's words, Boris retaliates by damaging the sound system, silencing the music. In response, Dante seeks revenge by using a baseball bat to knock off the head of Boris's talking skeleton. As Dante prepares to douse Boris's Halloween decorations with a huge bucket of fake blood, Boris rushes to stop him, causing the blood to splash onto Dante instead. Spectators, including characters from other stories in the film, gather around as the two neighbors engage in a fistfight, with some even placing bets and encouraging the altercation until the police intervene. Amidst the chaos, Boris pushes Dante towards a sharp piece of standing wood left over from the wrecked decorations. Tragically, both Boris and Dante are impaled on the piece of wood, resulting in their instant deaths and shocking the crowd. In the depths of the woods, a deformed serial killer, resembling Jason Voorhees, hunts down a teenage girl dressed as Dorothy for Halloween. She seeks refuge in a barn, only to stumble upon the gruesome remains of the killer's victims, including her friend Casey. As the killer closes in on her, she manages to escape briefly, but he ends her life by hurling a spear through her chest. The killer revels in his latest kill when suddenly, a UFO appears overhead, and from the ship emerges a small, costumed alien attempting to trick or treat. Despite the killer's attempts to explain he has no candy, the alien persistently repeats its demands, and in frustration, the killer stomps on the alien, seemingly crushing it. However, the alien's remains slither into the girl's mouth, possessing her body as the killer returns to his barn. The possessed girl pursues the terrified killer into his barn. Inside, the possessed girl and the killer engage in a fierce battle, wielding a meat cleaver and a chainsaw, respectively. Their duel escalates until both of them ultimately decapitate each other. As a result, the alien emerges from the girl's severed head through her mouth and returns to the spaceship, taking the killer's head as his treat before teleporting away. Bank robber Hank and his partner Dutch, lounging in their van, spot millionaire Jebediah Rex letting his son Rusty go out for trick-or-treating. Seizing the opportunity, they hatch a plan to kidnap the millionaire's son and demand ransom. After successfully capturing Rusty, they tie him to a chair and contact his father. To their surprise, Jebediah appears unfazed by the news of his son's abduction. He calmly informs the kidnappers that they have made a grave mistake and abruptly ends the call. Despite Hank's attempt to negotiate the ransom, Jebediah remains indifferent and coldly states that they can keep his son. Exasperated, the kidnappers eventually discover that Rusty is actually a malicious, cat-like imp that attaches himself to those around him. After a brutal struggle with Rusty, they capture him, tie him up, and plan to dispose of him in a nearby swamp. Dutch falls briefly for Rusty's deceptive cries mimicking a child, only to be attacked by the imp spewing bile at him. Upon returning to their hideout, Hank and Dutch are shocked to find Rusty has followed them. As Rusty assaults Dutch, Hank calls Jebediah again, who reveals Rusty isn't his son but a malevolent entity that has held him and his wife captive for years. Thanking the kidnappers for freeing him from Rusty, Jebediah warns them to remember to feed Rusty, or else he will eat. Hank and Dutch restrain Rusty once more and deliver him to Jebediah's doorstep, setting him ablaze before driving away. Sometime later, as Hank comes back from buying food from a convenience store, he finds Rusty in the back seat, feasting on Dutch's severed head. Ray is busy carving pumpkins in the kitchen while his wife Ellen admires his skill. After Ellen leaves the room and returns dressed in her cat costume, she witnesses the latest pumpkin Ray carved suddenly comes to life and gruesomely bite his head off. It then sprouts spider-like roots for legs and scurries out the back door. Detective McNally is called to investigate the crime scene, as the rest of the police department is occupied with other emergencies from earlier in the film. Initially skeptical of the description of the killer, she is convinced otherwise when forensic analyst Bob confirms that the killer was indeed a carved pumpkin. Meanwhile, the pumpkin disguises itself among the jack-o'-lanterns on a nearby porch. There, it preys on a trick-or-treater, shocking the mother who witnesses the horrifying event. At the police station, Detective McNally discusses the situation with her superior, Captain J.G. Zimmerman. She highlights the town's recurring Halloween chaos, detailing incidents from earlier in the film. Zimmerman tasks McNally with hunting down the pumpkin before it inflicts more harm. While on patrol, McNally finally locates the pumpkin as it wreaks havoc in the neighborhood. She tracks it to a backyard where it blends in among numerous other pumpkins. When the pumpkin realizes McNally's presence, it moves in for an attack. Running low on ammunition, McNally receives a shotgun from Bob, enabling her to destroy the pumpkin. Examining a sticker on a fragment of the pumpkin, McNally discovers it originates from Clover Corp, marketed as a 100% organic super pumpkin. McNally and Bob obtain a search warrant and visit Clover Corp headquarters. There, they meet Professor Milo Gottlieb, who leads them to a warehouse filled with thousands of genetically modified pumpkins, all potentially dangerous and awaiting sale. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Tales of Halloween from 2015. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.